In this video, we're going to talk about your biggest bottleneck in your solar sales business. And my name is Ivan, and I help people start and grow profitable solar sales orgs, selling over the phone and being location independent. All right, so if you're brand new to the channel, if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. And if you like the content of this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, all right? So without further ado, let's get right into the video. So basically, I believe that, you can have a bottleneck in any business, not just in your solar sales business, but for the sake of obviously the channel and the content of this video, we're going to talk about your solar sales business as a whole, right? What is the biggest bottleneck that you could possibly be experiencing right now? And at any given point, you will have a bottleneck of some sort, right? And in my opinion, it boils down to three things. So the first thing being a skill, right? It could be something that maybe your guys need training. Maybe you don't, if you want to sell over the phone, you don't know how to transition from in-home consultations to selling over the phone and have a good enough closing ratio. So you don't know how to train your guys to do that, and that could be a bottleneck, right? You have the people, right? So you have that resource, right? You have the manpower, okay? You can generate leads, but you cannot close over the phone. You don't have your operation set up in a way that you guys can close over the phone, right? So that could be a possibility. Number two is you could have an operations issue where that could be a bottleneck. And operations is usually, quite the opposite. You don't have salespeople. You want to be hiring salespeople. And I get people always complain about, hey, I can't find good salespeople and they're not serious. And they're like grasshoppers. They jump from here to here to here to here. They're not loyal and yada yada, right? The whole 9 yards. But the thing is, if you don't have the manpower to scale your business, you have to realize that that's your bottleneck at that time being, right? When you decide to make the transition and start selling over the phone, which is what I teach, you can check out some of the stuff down in the description. And if you decide that this is what you want to do from now on, and that's your biggest bottleneck right now at this spot, meaning if you get the right people in place, you'll be able to grow much quicker, which is usually what happens when you fix your bottleneck. What needs to happen is, once you make the switch to selling over the phone, then what happens is you differentiate yourself much more than everyone else in the marketplace. And when salespeople compare apples to apples, like you have a blue ocean strategy. You're in the category of one instead of competing in blood waters where everyone else is there competing for the same stuff. And that's what it seems from the side to somebody who wants to hire salespeople but doesn't see them as loyal, doesn't see them as they're gonna stick around, doesn't seem like they care about the values of the company or whatnot, right? The first thing you gotta do is grab their attention. And your differentiation point, which is the fact that you don't sell like a normal sales company does, that's your point of differentiation, right? Everything else outside of that is how you keep people, right? But if you talk about hiring people and making sure that you attract them first of all to your company, then that's what you need to do. You just need to differentiate yourself in a way that when they compare apples to apples, you definitely stand out. And number three in my books is the setup. So I use setup to sell over the phone. Do you have your installers in place? And what I've noticed is that when you decide to sell out of state, and if you want to move to, if you're in the West Coast and you want to start selling in the East Coast or vice versa, right? You have to be set up in those specific states and have, in my opinion, 3 to 5 options available at all times. So if you have a relationship with an installer and they can't handle your deal, right, or they have a backlog issues, for example, you can always turn to someone else. And that's some of the stuff that I teach in the training, which is very, very important to have multiple installers at the same exact time, because otherwise that could be a huge bottleneck in your business. You can literally have the entire system, the entire machine working for you, but the fact that you don't have an adequate installer that can serve you at that specific time that you need them, like it would ruin the whole experience, and obviously you're not going to end up making a lot of sales, and you're going to lose a lot of money, along the way. Ask me how I know. But basically, it's It's very simple, man. Like when you go to a different state, you know, you have to make sure that you have different options available, right? It doesn't matter what the issues of the installers might be. You know, different installers move differently. But to be on the safe side, you always need to have, you know, more than one installer. You don't want that to be your bottleneck, right? And it's easily achievable. All you have to do is just find other installers, like do your research, find other installers, and then reach out to them, get on their dealer program, and start using their services. And then as you move along, like obviously we have like a preferred networks of installers that anyone in the training could use, but you can always do your research. I mean, you can find out, you know, different groups on Facebook. You can ask your buddies like who they've used in the past. You can ask in Facebook groups. You can see online reviews and stuff like that. So there's a lot of people to take into account. Maybe that's a different video that I want to point out on that. I just had the idea literally, but those are the three things that could be your biggest bottleneck in your solar business. I believe there's one more, and that's the ability to drive traffic or drive leads to your business, and which is obviously one of the things that you want to focus on if you want to grow your business fast. You want to have a lead generation machine that constantly pumps out leads 24/7 and it never stops, because the moment it stops, then the top producers in your company are eventually going to leave. So you need to have your machine set up in the way that it never ceases to produce leads and appointments, right? So that's gonna wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was of value to you. If it was, give it a massive thumbs up and share it with a friend. And I'll see you in the next video.